So speaking about public golf and my interest in Soldier Hollow, when I first came to Utah, about 2013, um, Soldier Hollow was one of the first golf courses that I played.
Oh, great!
And,
You
and when I
start good
found
here.
out that they had this annual pass that you could play the two golf courses at Soldier Hollow plus the two golf courses over at Wasatch
Or
Mountain
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
for an annual fee. In those days, it was $800. Now it's 1,000.
Okay, it is still one of the best deals you ever will find.
It made me wonder why anybody would want to join a club if you could have those four golf courses for that price. So um, I never dreamed in those days that I would actually be working at Soldier Hollow. So it's kind of come around in a circle that I get to hang out there every day.
It's your Mufasa moment. I like it. Tell us more about your backstory. Where were you before Utah? Why'd you come?
So 33 years in the Southwest section in southern Arizona. Mostly doing instruction. I was director of instruction at both Ventana Canyon and at Tucson National. When I came up to everybody in Arizona is looking for a summer getaway place, and half the people go to the beach in San Diego or Mexico.
Right. Yeah, I-10's always packed.
Yeah, the other half find the mountains, and I'm definitely more mountains than beach.
Okay.
And when we discovered Park City, you know how easy it was to get here. Thank you, Delta, for making
No
it
kidding,
so
right?
Easy. It was perfect for us. I enjoy fly fishing, so to be close enough to the Provo River and all the other great trout streams around the Rocky Mountains, that was a great attraction as well. But
You're going to pause here for a minute on that. You know Sue Nias,
yes,
great Utah Golf Hall of Famer. Okay. She Utah Golf Hall of Fame. She can play some golf, right?
Yeah.
She's a better fisher woman. Better. She's
is
better.
that right?
She's better at drowning a fly.
Yeah.
She's good at that.
I've met Sue. Now I have something to talk with Sue about.
Oh, drop a quarter in her, dude. She'll go on that.
But interesting.
I hope she's
you say
listening because that is so fantastic.
When I was at Tuhey, I got to meet a gentleman named Mark O'Meara.
Oh my, yeah.
Oh,
well,
goodness.
of course,
Just
we
Mark.
know he hangs there. Yes, yes.
So any fly fishing guide in the Rocky Mountains will tell you. Whenever I told them on a fishing trip that I worked at Tuhey, they would say, "Oh, you know Mark,
Mark.
world class fly fisherman.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's a great stick."
It's these people.
You know-
these people who can putt well can place a fly.
Not just that, but think about the mental game. You know, I mean, you're standing out there for hours and just silence, and you're with yourself, and you're with your thoughts. I mean, you can get a lot done while you're fishing.
Well, that's a great.
That's what I
point.
do. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
fishing for that reason. You can work out a lot of things in just silence, and it's
100%.
it's a sound that's so glorious.
I do love the sound of flowing water.
Yes.
That is
You're right. And, I think the rhythms are very similar between golf and fishing. I think the frustrations are very similar between golf
The
and fishing.
waiting for the
And there's
next
times
thing.
when you just got to kind of sit down on a rock and look around and say, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
my favorite book is A River Runs Through It.
Oh, yeah.
I've read it 6 or 8 times.
And they
most
made a
recently
decent
just
movie
a
out of
couple
it.
of months ago.
But I've heard
and
you
the movie is pretty okay.
But I've heard you talk about the book that you read
Yeah,
the book a lot.
I do. I love that book. Norman McLean is a great writer. It's semi-autobiographical, and Robert Redford, Utah connection here, of course.
Of course.
The director of this film kept very true to the book, and I think that's why it's so great. Okay, I've taken us down about 12 rabbit holes.
Yep.
Let's go back to you coming to Utah.
So the original plan was I would work in southern Arizona in the wintertime.
Okay.
It's very busy. 7 days a week, sun up to sundown, I could be on the lesson tee.
Okay.
And I wanted to come up to Park City and teach during the summer months.
Okay.
And I was going back and forth for a couple years, and that's about as long as I could take going back and forth. And I knew I had to pick one or the other, and there's just so much to love about northern Utah that it was a pretty easy decision. So I came up here full-time and joined the Utah section. Great section, by the way.
Oh,
of
my
the-
land.
Some of the coolest people I've ever met.
I love the Utah Section PGA and the people in it. Every once in a while, they honor me and sometimes humor me and let me come to some of their events. I just love hanging with those people. All the membership, the leadership, the staff, Devin Lynn, Annie Fisher, all those people. Aaron Goodman,
Aaron
of
Goodman,
course.
Mhm.
Aaron's actually my cousin. Yeah, I've known.
There's
I've
See
that.
no
known.
resemblance.
There's
Oh
that.
no, I'm not nearly as good looking as Aaron, but I have known him since he was wearing diapers. So there's
Oh.
that.
Well, I believe that. You know, this golf community here is so tight knit.
So good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. My colleagues and fellow golf professionals that I've met and had a chance to play golf with, it's just been an absolute blessing for me to be here and part of this section and these people.
And they're good at events.
Mhm.
The
And
best.
so going to the section stuff as a player, that you get to do a lot, as an observer that we get to do. Jan and I do that. Just hanging at
Yeah.
these section events. It's
Yeah.
and I play in one each year. The Senior Open out at Tona Vista, because it's open to the amateurs. Thank you. And so it's just everything is run just so tight. It's just so good. And then
If they could just control the wind out
oh, it's a part of the course,
Yes.
David. It's
See,
a
now Paul has to
feature.
teach it.
Feature,
I've
not a
learned this
bug.
from Paul.
Yes.
And when we go out with the girls and we all play in the wind and I remind them where they are and how beautiful and wonderful it is, and that wind is a feature of a course, not a
feature.
detriment.
Really well said.
Especially some courses
certain
are designed.
courses,
Yeah.
And you know, Soldier Hollow fits in that.
Yep,
that's
Soldier
best.
Hollow
Oh,
fits
the
in that
wind
category
can
as
come down
well.
that
Mhm.
canyon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've all
boy.
been out there
Yep.
days where the pins are kind of bending a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit and
Yeah.
tough shots.
So, you know, speaking back to the section just
Yeah.
for a second here.
Mhm.
Last year, we were fortunate enough to host the girls 5A and 6A state championships
Mhm.
Yes.
on both courses.
Mhm.
And those girls played amazingly well in really trying conditions.
Mhm, they
It
did.
was chilly.
Yeah. And I feel so bad for them because in spring golf, they get what they get weather-wise.
Yep,
And
yep.
The boys,
And
seem
the
to
boys get
perfect fall
something a
weather.
little bit
I wish
different.
there was a way to crack that nut.
I
I
know.
don't know it.
Yeah,
We don't know what
yeah.
it
I mean,
is,
we've
but-
we've talked about it, but I don't know it either. But
You know what,
we'll
though?
keep working.
It makes them tougher.
It does.
I mean, these
I am
girls
not
are
gonna
these
tell 'em.
girls are tough.
Well, that's true. They are. Okay.
But it was the Southwest section that ran that event for the high school association.
This Utah section.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Okay.
the Utah section.
Uh-huh.
I beg your pardon.
No, not a
Sorry,
problem.
Devin. And I mentioned to Devin and to Annie and to Aaron after that event that I've never been so proud of being a PGA member as I was watching them run that event
Oh, that's
with everything that
wonderful.
was going on.
Okay, I wasn't there. I didn't see it, but I completely understand what
Mhm.
you're saying because I know these people.
You've
I've been to
seen it.
their events. I know what they do.
Yep.
You are right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was fun.
that is really cool. Well, David, we are so glad you are here. We are so glad you are a part of the Utah Golf family, and especially at such an important facility in the Utah Golf tournament schedule, arcing over more than a year. I mean, when you look at what happens at Soldier, you really have to look at it over a multi-year period. The State Am is on a pattern to go back there because it is such a good championship facility. Soldier Hollow matters. In your position, you matter. We're really grateful that you're a part of Utah Golf. And
Well,
thanks
thank
for
you.
making your choice to come north, man.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't be happier.
That is so cool. We need to do ourselves a little Jet X update, Jan. Come listen to a story about a pro named Jed, a poor three-putter. He had bogeys in his head. And then one day he was shooting at the green. Got the worst dang bounce anybody ever seen. Left, that is. Short-sighted. In the rough. The Jet X Jug brought to us by our good friends at First Utah Bank. Check them out at firstutahbank.com. Stop into any of the branches. We do our banking at First Tee at First Utah, so we know how well they treat folks. Check them out. First Utah Bank. The Jet X Jug, of course, is our backdoor fantasy game we play here at Utah Golf Radio, where we are identifying the players, David, who will barely make the top 100. We're going 100 deep, barely make the top 100 in the PGA Tour at the end of the FedEx season. We're not going for the leaders. We're going for the bubble boys. You get 1 point for every position they finish up to, and including number 100. Jan, what do they get for 101 and beyond?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, not a nil, no points. And so the trick is pick players who will get you a bunch of points, but not fall outside the top 100.
So it's like you're rooting for them 1 week, and then you're like, please lose.
Go
Or
on,
please don't
miss a cut.
Miss a cut. Please miss a cut. Please miss a cut.
I've never done that before.
Oh, it's
you've
so
gotta
much
play.
fun
Got to
I
play.
mean, I've never rooted for someone to miss
to
it.
miss a cut.
Well,
yeah.
and the other thing is, everybody watches the top of the FedEx rankings. I get it, and especially
But
when
way
it's
more
time
fun
for
to
the
watch
top
the
30.
bottom.
But
Well-
watching the bubble is a gas.
Yeah, the bubble
It
is
is fun.
gas.
And the level of talent at the bubble.
So
Mhm.
good.
Incredible, and there's that. I mean, that line is so thin.
They're all visiting from Krypton.
Yeah.
Okay, these people are not they're not like us.
Yeah.
But it is fun to watch the bubble. And so it's free to play. Go to utahgolfradio.com, click on JetX, and
Are you
it's
giving them one last
self-explanatory
week
there.
to play?
Say again?
Are you giving them one last week to register or something? Because isn't the players the?
No, it is through the PGA Championship.
Oh, this says based on the players.
That is the standings through the players.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I looked at that entirely wrong.
Okay.
That's the second time I've read something entirely wrong.
Okay, standings through the players through last week.
Yes.
We have Fantasy Rob, who is Rob Bolton of PGAtour.com. He runs the fantasy page on PGAtour.com, and he follows our game. He comes on the radio show every year, and his job is the top of the board, and he says this is the most fun he has, is following the bubble. His team of Doug Gim, Emiliano Grillo, and Keith Mitchell is currently leading the JetX Jug. Tommy Sharp, a former JetX champion, is in second place. White Albatross, I'm not sure who that is.
Still haven't figured out
Yeah.
who that is.
Gopher Bro, that's you.
That's me.
And then Spine Dog, our
That's Randy.
good friend Randy Zebo over at Duro Health. We'll talk about them in a minute. He's in fifth place. Check him out. Anybody can play. It is free of charge to play, and we are all
We'll
competing.
set you up during the break day.
Yeah,
okay?
we'll get you entered. We're all competing for the soon-to-be coveted JetX Jug.
Just one more thing, Tommy
Yeah.
Sharp can win, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, Tommy
He is
Sharp.
a former winner of the JetX Jug.
He is a former winner of. Just fill in the blank.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
There's a
What
lot of
hasn't he won?
a lot of events.
You know, actually, there is one thing Tommy hasn't won.
Miss America?
Masters.
You're both actually right. It isn't where I was going, but he was fourth runner-up in Miss America one year. A lot of
Ooh.
people miss that.
Dang.
But oddly, and this is odd to me, Tommy has yet to win the Utah Open.
Oh wow.
I thought he would have, but so good, such a good player, such a good competitor. But I hope he's listening. And Tommy, I love you, dude. And I hope you're not bugged with me, but
Just give him a
is.
Utah Open, please.
Every time he pegs it, I think I'm gonna win this thing.
Yep.
So
Let-
Anyway.
let Paul have one, please.
me, I haven't
Please
even,
tell me win this for
haven't
Paul.
even played my way in.
No, I want Paul. I want him to win it for you.
Oh, win it for me. There we
Yes.
go. Okay. So guys, go play JetX Jug at UtahGolfRadio.com. All right, we need to do a UPod update.
Give me an update, I need some scores. Wanna see my U-Pots on the leaderboard and watch him play, yeah. Whoa, give me an update, I need some scores. Wanna see my U-Pots on the leaderboard and watch him play, yeah.
The UPod update, where we are following our Utah players on tour, brought to us by our good friends at Scott Golf. Check them out at scottgolf.com. This is a Utah product. These clubs are so sweet. I've been carrying them for 2 years now, and I love my Scott Golf clubs. Check them out, scottgolf.com. UPod update. Jan, how are the boys doing?
Boys are doing good. Let's see. Last week, the boys were at the Players, and unfortunately, both of our boys missed the cut. We did already know that. So this week, Patrick Fishburne is at the Valspar Championship. He currently sits T68 plus 2, 144 on a round of 73 and 71. And it looks like the cut line was moved after he was finished.
When he signed his card, he was one shot outside of the cut. A little wind picked up, and of course, the rough is so tough at Innisbrook this week. Cut line moved after he was eating lunch or whatever he's doing after his round, and so he ended up getting a tee time on the weekend, which is the game.
Yep, that's
in
the goal.
in pro golf on the various tours. You make the cut. When you make the cut, you get points. You get a check. Make the cut. And Patrick he
great.
walked down to the scorer's tent thinking he had the weekend off, but no.
Do you know what we like to call that?
What's that?
A good surprise.
That's a good surprise.
Yeah, from Big Daddy.
And
Good surprise.
we should note that the U-Pots we had in the Players last week were Patrick and Tony Finau. No surprise, Tony's in that tough field to get in. It was Patrick's first Players, and
listen to the podcast.
that's just what I was going to say.
About his thing. I listened to it the other day, and it was just really great to listen to his take on, his emotions and what it was like for him to play in his first Players. It was really cool.
The podcast is Fishing for Birdies with Rob Despain. It is a project of and brought to us by the great people up at Golden West Credit Union. But Fishing for Birdies, check out this pod if you haven't already. Patrick is very candid, open, vulnerable. He's very real. And this great player and very good man telling the story of playing on the tour. And as Jan said, he missed the cut, and he was almost tearing up at what a great experience it was. It is so cool, Dave, to listen to him talk about being at Sawgrass, being at the Players.
Well,
he said it was like nothing he'd ever experienced.
But this is, people who love Patrick and people who listen to the show, it's their opportunity to get to experience firsts with Patrick.
Yeah,
These are
that's
all
a good
his
point.
firsts. So the first time he goes to the Masters, the first time he goes to, the Players, the first time he goes to these tournaments, we get to hear that from him personally.
It's funny you mentioned the Masters. He hasn't been there yet, of course. But when I was listening to him talk about going to the Players, I thought, oh, man, when he gets himself to Augusta, cannot wait to hear his thoughts on that.
Exactly. And you just love, and you can hear the emotion in his voice. You can hear the joy, and it makes you smile when you listen to it because you know it's so authentic and so from the heart.
That will be a really interesting first because I think we all believe that he's got a major championship.
Oh my gosh,
he does,
and that seems like a perfect golf course.
It does, right? It does. Patrick just drips talent, and we know him as this guy who carpet bombed the Utah Open as an amateur when he was still at Brigham Young, and he won it by 9 stupid shots and walked off the 54th hole bummed that he was a little wired with himself that he failed to drive the green on 18 at Riverside because that was his goal at the time of going, Patrick, for crying out loud. but
very in the lead.
Yeah, just he has so much horsepower, and he's ironically still learning how to put a bit in the mouth, if you would.
Yeah.
But what a great player, and I agree with you completely, David. I think this guy has a very, very high ceiling, and we get to follow him. He's one of us.
To watch.
No doubt, no doubt.
For sure. Well, the KFT boys are on a break until April 3rd, and that'll be the Club Car Championship in Savannah. Yeah. Mike Weir is at the Hogue Classic currently, sits T24 -2 on his first round of 69.
On the Champions Tour, of course.
Champions Tour. And then Kendra Dalton, she finished the Iowa Golf Classic last week at T47 +1, 214 on rounds of 74, 69, and 71.
We talked to Kendra a couple weeks ago on the show, and this is a really good example, Jan, of what we were talking about a minute ago, where making the cut is the drill. So she finished T47. She wasn't in the mix, but she made the cut. Making the cut is everything is built on getting those points.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Well, yeah, exactly. So good stuff. All right. We need to throw some love to BYU commit Drake Harvey and Utah Tech's Mia Cesarek. They are the men's and women's divisions champs of the UGA's first championship of the year. Winter champs contested last week down in the St. George area. And with the win, so they are the Zions Bank Players of the Week, presented by Fairways Magazine. So congratulations to Drake Harvey and Mia Cesarek. And with the win, Mia also gets an exemption into the Epson Tours Copper Rock Championship that'll be contested in May.
And your podcast, by the way, was really great with the two of them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
they were fun to talk to.
I know. Let me tell you something. That Drake Harvey, he is a character, and I loved his take on the win and what it meant to him because he knows all of these college players and he knows how good they are, yet he beat them. Yeah. And that's how he said it. He's like, and I beat him.
And I beat him, yeah.
Yeah, it was just
great.
great.
Please do listen to that podcast if you can. It's the Utah Golf Radio podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. Same place you can get the Fishing for Birdies pod.
Mm-hmm.
But check out the Utah Golf Radio podcast where we do go deep with Drake and with Mia on their wins at Winter Champs. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Drake Harvey, I know that name. Well, you sort of do. His dad, Billy Harvey, was an All-American at Brigham Young in 1999. So, yeah, exactly. Dave, you're going.
I did not know.
There you are. Yeah. So, and
Coach Brock Bank just keeps reloading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in this pod, I asked Drake. I said, okay, you had options. He's among the top ranked junior players in the nation. You chose BYU. I know there's a family connection, but really, tell me about your decision. And he said, yeah, I was looking at other colleges. He says, but ultimately, there were two things that brought it down for me. And number one, you just mentioned the family connection. He says, and in addition, of course, and I should have noted, his grandfather also played for Brigham Young. And his cousin is a soccer player for Brigham Young or something. Anyway, there's a lot of family connection there. He goes, plus, when Kihei Akina committed,
that's what he said.
He says, I'm thinking, ooh.
I
want to team up. I want to team up with Kihei.
And
I said, yeah. And then Cooper Jones comes back from his mission. You guys might be good. He goes,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
When does Cooper come back?
Well,
I say, didn't he? I feels like he just left.
Yeah, he did. He left.
Okay.
He left last summer. But
it was last summer.
Okay, but Drake
Wow.
is a junior in
Yeah,
high
yeah.
school,
No,
so we're
the
looking
timing
we're
is
looking
perfect.
2 years down the line
Yeah,
here.
yeah, no, the
and
timing is great.
So you start projecting this
And
BYU
Kihei
team
will be a
that
senior.
will have the Kihei is a senior in high school right now.
But Kihei will be a junior or sophomore in college
Yeah.
when he gets
So
when Drake gets.
but you can look into the future of the Brigham Young program, and there will be Kihei Akina, Drake Harvey, Cooper Jones, another good team, and their team right now is really good.
National championship contenders.
They should be. They should be. And just a little programming note: the Utes, of course, are they were a top 10 team. They fell to number 12 this week. But they're coming off another great tournament. Brandon Robinson won the individual tournament last week, the individual side of the University of Arizona tournament, which they played at National. And that gave the starting five of the University of Utah golf team, each of them has won an individual title in the last 12 months.
That's really impressive.
Remarkable. We talked to Brandon Robinson and Coach Clegg later in the show. Anyway, boy, I'm rabbit holing a lot today.
You are. That's okay. That's what we do.
Zions Bank Players of the Week, presented by Fairways Magazine. Drake Harvey and Mia Cesarek. Congratulations to them. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk with Colin Clausen from the UGA about how things went, Jan, this week when they opened up their registration portal for the remainder of the championships. A busy week down at the UGA. Colin Clausen on the other side. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah. Utah Golf Radio coming back at you. We're in the mothership this morning down in the beautiful downtown studios of ESPN 700, getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah in partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. This first hour of the show is presented by Salt Lake City Golf at slcgolf.com or the Salt Lake City Golf app. Either way, check them out. You make tee times, use them to use the app. It's got a GPS feature. It's got a yardage feature on it. Jan?
Yardage marker.
No, you call it mile marker.
Mile marker. I call it a mile marker.
Yes,
you refer to it as a yardage. Most people call it yardage.
Yeah, but it's a mile marker for Jan.
Yes.
We are powered by T-Box. Love the folks at T-Box for the whole golfer experience. Training your swing, your body, nutrition, and just a fun place to hang. Check them out, tbx.golf. T-Box up in northern Utah and coming to the Salt Lake Valley this summer. And there's one down in St. George as well, which is really cool. We are joined now by Colin Clausen, the tournament director of the Utah Golf Association. And Colin, good morning. You had yourself a week, baby.
Yeah, it certainly was a week. You said it.
So tell us about this. We've been talking for several weeks, telling everybody, set a calendar reminder on March 18th. If you don't get yourself registered for some of these UGA championships, if you don't do it right away, you're going to be put on a wait list.
You're left out entirely.
You're left out. And so it was a busy morning. Tell us how things went down.
Yeah, I mean, over the last couple of years, the registration for all of our events has gotten to be a pretty hot ticket. And, not that it wasn't before, but I think every year there's just a little more urgency because more and more people forgot.
And we're constantly reminding them, Colin.
Yeah, and they didn't get their spot or they didn't get the site they wanted. And so every year I feel like there's no way it can get crazier, and then every year it does. So, and that was true this year too. It really, Tuesday morning was pretty nuts.
Well, so let's look at it here. You've got 11, is it? State Am qualifying locations.
Yep. 11 qualifiers, yep.
And 4 are already full with the full field of 84, so their registration is closed. And those 4 are at Fox Hollow, The Ridge, and Talon's Cove, and then also at Wasatch on the lake course.
There's actually 5.
Oh, I missed one.
Davis Park is full as well.
Okay. So, Davis, I just missed Davis because I was looking right next to it. So Davis Park is full. There's 5 gone. Glen Eagle, and that's the one I was looking at. It's right next to it. Glen Eagle sits at 81 right now, so there's 3 spots available is all at Glen Eagle. and folks, register. It's not so hard. UGA.org. Now, people, you do have to have your profile built within the Golf Genius app, so tell people about that.
Yeah, it's fairly simple. You just go to the event, and if you're not logged into your Golf Genius account already, there's a blue button at the bottom that says click here to register. And as long as you have a UGA membership and your handicap meets the handicap restriction, it's pretty straightforward.
And it's all automatic because the system checks those things for you. It preloads your GIN, it checks your handicap index to make sure that you can fit with the qualifications. There are still some of the state AM qualification sites with space available. Talk about those for a minute.
Yeah, I think the ones that still have significant space, because like you said, Glen Eagle's got 3 spots. Mountain Dell only has 2 spots left. But if you're willing to travel a little bit, we've got room for you, and I expect that we'll continue to have a little bit of room in those qualifiers for a little bit. We've got a qualifier up at Logan River Golf Course, which I've actually found quite a few Logan Country Club members have signed up for, which I
Makes
find
sense.
interesting. Yeah.
Because I was gonna come to that in a minute, but let's go there now. State Am this year is at Logan River.
Yep.
Pardon me, at the
Logan
Logan
Country
Country Club.
Club.
I was looking at it right there.
Mhm.
It's at the Logan Country Club, which I think will be a magnificent match play venue.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're really excited to be up at Logan. And you may have noticed also that we're actually at a second golf course this year for stroke play, Eagle Mountain Golf Course in Brigham City. Really excited about that track also. I've gotten some questions on that. People have asked me, does this mean you're going back to the field of 288? And the answer is no. We're still at the smaller field of 156. But if you've ever played a Logan Country Club before about 9 a.m., you know that you really can't.
It's
Those canyon winds come in, and so we weren't going to be able to get 156 players through that golf course in one day with those canyon winds. And so we're at a second one just for stroke play. And then, like you said, match play will be at Logan Country Club.
very cool. Also, another one this one is fascinating to me. Green Spring down in Washington in the St. George area currently is pretty wide open. There's a lot of spots there. Registration sits at 37 out of a cap of 84. So there's some room at Green Spring. And I love the backstory on this. Anybody remember the State Am champ last year? Oh, yeah. That would be Cole Ponich. He forgot to register for the qualifier, Jan,
Mhm.
and he ended up needing to drive down to St.
Yep,
George
that's right, to
to play
qualify.
in a qualifier because he forgot to register, and that's what was open and available for him. And so he drove down. He lives up in Davis County.
Mhm.
Drove down to St. George, played in the queue, made it, of course, drove back, and then worked his way through, became State Am champ, and yet nearly didn't make the qualifier field.
Well, there's some spots at Palisades.
Spots in Palisades, same
Mhm.
story. So all this was happening. I'm curious what it was like at 9 o'clock when you opened the registration call.
No, I
at
want to know what it was like. I
9:01.
want to know what it was like at 8:58.
Okay. Tell us those stories, Colin.
Yeah, it's funny. We were all, everyone got to the office. We're usually there by 8 a.m. Anyways, but it's kind of it's kind of climactic. We've got kind of a countdown going, and then as soon as 9 a.m. hits, there's a little bit of a lull. Like we maybe got one or two calls, but I'm refreshing my golf.
Yeah, I say
Genius account
refresh.
just to see, and then all of a sudden, boom! There's 200 emails confirming registrations, and then you refresh again, and there's another 150.
Oh my gosh.
And it is pretty crazy. It's pretty fun to watch. I think actually the craziest one this year. Well, there's two that were really wild, but with the mid-amateur going down to St. George and going to Entrada,
Right.
that was the fastest one of those qualifiers filled in 20 minutes.
Really?
And all three of those qualifiers that are up north all filled before the end of the first day. You can still sign up for the Green Spring qualifier. We've got a few spots left for that one. But the Mid-Am qualifiers it's hotcakes. And I don't know if it's site driven or that event is just becoming more popular, more people are aging into it. But that one's really been, fascinating to watch it go from, I think 5 years ago, you could just sign up and play if you had the right handicap. And now we've got 4 qualifiers that are filling.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
Yeah, and there are a lot of inputs, I think, behind the growth of this tournament. Part of them being that you put on a really good show. This is
Yep.
a good experience, and,
Yep.
and people want to be a part of it. But Eaglewood capped out, Glendale capped out, Fox Hollow capped out, and there's 66 registrants at Green Spring, so there's only 18 spots
Yep.
left.
Yep.
And then it's just wait list, buddy. that's
Mhm.
all there'll be. So wow, that is really interesting, the way that worked out. And holy cow, it's a great event. The Mid-Am is a terrific event.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It just kind of shows how, I mean, the way that the game has grown so much too. I mean,
that's
we have
one
a
of the
lot of new
inputs, no
golfers as
doubt.
well.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
that are
doubt.
coming in, and all of the transplants that are coming in
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Tell us about the other championships. I mean, we land on the State Am because we love the State Am, and it's
the thing.
It's the big dog. We know this, but there are so many other really terrific, interesting championships. Tell us about the other things. Everything opened that morning. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I mean our next big championship coming up outside of the Spring Open, which registration's been open for a while.
Right.
But the Senior Stroke Play Championship that we're holding up at Stonebridge the last week of April, first week of May, that one is almost full as well. I think there's 110 people signed up for a 120 player field. So I expect that one to fill up. And then one that another kind of fascinating one, it's probably my favorite event to run is the Utah 4-ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love 4-ball match play. I think it's so fun to watch, so fun to play, and really fun to officiate. You have to be on your toes when you're officiating a 4-ball match. You got a lot to keep track of. And that event also, the at-large qualifier filled in, I think, 2 days, and the senior is almost full. And I mean, last year it took us maybe 2 months before that qualifier to fill. So that's another one that I think that if people are starting to figure out how much fun that championship is.
And you moved it to Talisker this year.
Yes, and it is at Talisker this year, which we're really excited about. I think that's going to set up really well for 4-ball match play.
So the at-large qualifier for the 4-ball, which is code for the young guys, it currently there's 132 players in it, but that counts teams. What is the cap on that?
So that is capped.
That is the
Okay.
cap. Okay.
Yep. Yep, that's the most we feel like we can get through a golf course in one day and still hold a playoff. And I think there's probably 10 teams on the wait list right now already too.
What's the cap on the senior qualifier portion?
The senior, we've got it initially at 80. I think there's some room to expand that if the demand is there. Frankly, Paul, I don't know that we've ever had more than 50 sign up to try and play in the senior division, and so I'm really I put it at 80 just as kind of an arbitrary number and working with the golf course, but I think if we needed to expand that one, we could maybe look at that.
Well, it currently
especially with
sits
daylight that time of year.
Currently sits at 72.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah,
need 8
exactly.
more.
So a lot of demand on that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to pair up Jan with Rob Despain. We're going to
You
go
are?
play this.
I want to play.
There's 8 spots left.
Okay. I just have to find a senior who will play with me.
There's that. Well,
Colin, find me a senior.
Colin, we love what you do.
Yes.
We love the UGA. And let me just say here, folks, if you're not a member of the Utah Golf Association,
What's wrong with you?
Go to UGA.org, click on join. It is easy
So
peasy,
easy.
lemon squeezy. and you can be a member of the UGA. It's the
It's-
best value in the game.
Not just that, but it's sort of your duty as a golfer to become a member of the UGA.
I
So,
think
you
so.
can support Utah Golf. It shows that you are a member of the Utah Golf family.
And
that
with
you're into it.
with it comes your subscription to
And your
fairways,
handicap.
your handicap, all
Mhm.
the stuff. Join the UGA.
Yes.
Anyway, Colin, we are so excited about these championships, and congratulations on making it through
Congratulations and good
Tuesday.
luck.
We're looking forward to seeing these play out. We're going to be seeing you all summer, so buckle up.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. We're excited.
Yep.
Fun stuff. All right, thank you. That
It's gonna
is
be a
Colin
fun
Clausen,
ride,
Jan.
huh?
Look, Dave. We're talking about all this, and we mentioned it earlier at the top of the show. You know about hosting a UGA event. You guys do it. You've had 7,
7 men's amateurs, 1 women's amateur,
right?
and still the only Utah course to host a USGA national championship.
It is a championship
Mhm. It's a
facility, just
championship
straight up. That golf course was built for
And
championships.
I've spoken with Colin many times, and he always makes the point. We think of Soldier Hollow as a home course for the UGA, and that makes me feel really, really good.
I like
I'm
that.
really proud of
Like
that.
that.
Of course, Jeff at the UJGA says the same thing, and
And
I'm
I like
equally
that.
proud of
Yeah.
that. And, yeah, so,
exactly.
we like to be associated with tournament players. So.
And
Absolutely.
you are.
Absolutely. And one thing that's cool is you look at those 7 state AMs and the one women's state AM there, and you look at the players who win on that course, and there's no accidents.
It's a who's who.
It is a
of
who's
Utah
who.
golf legend.
Yeah, I mean, recently the winners there, Zach Jones, Jordan Rogers, Cole Ogden won up there, Tony Finau won up there, and for the
So
women, Grace
impressed with you right
Summerhays
now.
won.
He's not reading anything. He is just saying that right off the top
I know.
of his
I,
brain.
when you get to know Paul better, you're going to understand that he's an encyclopedia, an almanac, a thesaurus,
What'd you say, golf
a
geek?
golf geek, a golf nerd.
You're
a-
missing the key word here, which is annoying.
No,
most people
not even.
find
It
annoying.
is fascinating the amount of stuff, random stuff he knows. We'll be talking about the 1973 U.S. Open in whatever, and he'll say, "Oh
Well,
yeah, so and so won."
That was at Oakmont, and
There you go.
Johnny
I was
Miller
gonna
won it.
say Oakmont.
Of course.
Ah,
I mean, you picked
63 the
73.
last round.
63 the last round. You picked an easy one,
I
Jan.
know. Okay, I didn't even know why I went 73.
But-
It just popped in my head.
All right.
Now I've got 2 of them. Jeez, I'm in a vortex.
So we were talking a few minutes ago at the break. Jan was telling me about her granddaughter.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Who
Yeah,
plays
good
golf
player.
at
Yeah.
Centenary, and
Right.
she goes, "Who was he?"
And
used
of
to
course
be?"
he
Senator Hal Sutton.
Hal
yeah.
Sutton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And I always have to do the 2 clicks before I remember it's Hal Sutton.
And there's actually a cool Utah connection in there. When Jadon Blake won his individual NCAA championship in
Mhm.
1980,
I was in college.
yeah, you know who finished second in that?
Was it Hal Sutton?
Hal Sutton.
Oh
wow.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Wow, wow, wow.
Fun stuff.
I love that.
We got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to do a little things and stuff. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by the T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network.
I'm doing stuff. Things, 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 stuff, things, stuff, things, 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 with things, things, or things, things. It's stuff, stuff, things, stuff, things, stuff, stuff.
Things and Stuff on Utah Golf Radio, brought to us by Uinta Golf. Check them out at uintagolf.com, a legacy Utah company. We all know Uinta Golf. Jan, you guys are filming commercials at Uinta Golf.
You know, it's really funny. Lindsay, one of my girls go golfing. She was getting fitted. The story was that she had bought some golf clubs and they were stolen out of her car. And so she went back to Uinta, and Shane Jewett helped her get her golf clubs and replaced her clubs, and she got them in roughly 2 weeks. And that was kind of extraordinary to get an entire set, irons, woods, hybrids, and her putter replaced in 2 weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was great. And so in that time, Shane's like, "Oh, we're filming a commercial." So they asked Lindsay to be in the commercial. So one of our girls from Girls Go Golfing is going to be in the new Utah Uinta Golf TV commercial, and she gets to say, "And they got my clubs here in 2 weeks." So she got to keep her outfit that she wore, and she got to do the commercial. So she's really excited. So that'll come out here pretty soon, and everyone that's our Lindsay.
That is so cool, and it all came about because she was down to Uinta, which is the right thing to do. Well, and what were the clubs she got? You know?
Oh, she got the new Titleist G's.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't messing around.
All right.
She's such a good golfer, though.
Yeah,
so
she's a good player.
These clubs, I mean, she is just wow. She's just getting better, and now I've almost talked her into competing.
All right. That is so cool. Check them out, folks. Uinta stores in Riverdale, Sugar House, Sandy, Orem, and St. George, north to south.
And check out the new St. George store because they've redesigned it and made it much larger.
Oh, I haven't been in there for a minute.
Oh, yeah, no, it's brand new.
Okay, very cool. Check them out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and at uintagolf.com. All right, we got to take another quick break. When we come back on the other side, I've been looking forward to this conversation. We will talk with Patrick Manning, the managing partner at Black Desert, about preparations for the LPGA coming back to Utah for the first time in more than 60 years. Patrick Manning after the break. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. That means Utah Golf Radio coming to you live today from the beautiful downtown studios of ESPN 700. We are at the mothership, getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah in partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. Paul and Jan with you today, and we are joined by our good friend David Sim, the head golf professional at Soldier Hollow, that great facility up there over the hill. And David, we're so glad to have you with us here this morning.
Thank you for the invite. I'm having a great time.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And we are honored to be joined by another good friend, a man making a difference in the Utah game. That is Patrick Manning from Black Desert. Patrick, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Doing great, Patrick. We so appreciate you joining us. You're bringing the greatest women players in the world to Utah here in just a couple months. And I'm looking at your website now at blackdesertevents.com. And folks, note that website. There's so much going on that website, blackdesertevents.com. But the landing page there says Catch the Thrill. And boy, howdy, that's exactly it. I cannot wait to see these women come to Black Desert. How are preparations going?
We will be ready.
Okay.
I think, Paul, you know really well that I've been more passionate about bringing the LPGA here and rolling out the red carpet and celebrating the women, probably more than anything I've ever done in my life, honestly. I mean, so excited for this.
Boy, that's saying a lot with your list of accomplishments, but I do understand that about you, Patrick, and I share your view. For a variety of reasons, scheduling, the transportation you're providing, I want to come back to that in a minute, where it is on the calendar, all of this stuff, the top players in the women's game are going to be here.
Do we know who yet?
Little early for that, but what do you know about that, Patrick?
Yeah, I know that there's a bunch, but I know Lydia Ko will be here. Lexi Thompson will be here. Charlie Hull will be
Wow.
here. Brooke Henderson will be here. But I think it's 21 of the top 25 women in the world are already registered to play.
Congratulations. That's so wonderful.
Yeah. So
What a get. What a get.
You're listing these names. I'm thinking, how am I going to see them all? I've got to be 6 places at once. But seriously, that is just so cool. Let's talk for a minute about what you're doing in a partnership with SkyWest Airlines to make sure that it works logistically for these top players to be here.
Yeah, so technically it's not SkyWest Airlines, it's SkyWest Charter.
So
we're
okay.
We're going to be flying the women here. What I'm about to describe has never been done before, and we're really proud to be able to celebrate the women like this. But in a partnership with SkyWest, we are flying 8 jets to Houston. They play there before they get to us. And we're flying the entire 144 women field and a +1 privately. Don't have to deal with commercial airports, that sort of thing. And flying them here on us. And then they also stay at the resort for free and eat for free. And they get an all-inclusive golf trip.
Wow. And all they have to do is play golf.
Well,
that's right.
And you sort of have to be qualified to be in the field. That's a big lift. But
right, yeah.
Well, you're making it so they're gonna fight to play in this every year, Patrick.
Well, yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, really, actually, Jan, what I'm really hoping is that the LPGA is just thrilled, and they asked me, they said, "Why are you doing all of this?" And I said, "Well, first of all, sorry, audience, it pissed me off when I found out the difference in the experience that the men get versus the women."
Yeah, valid
so I wanted
point.
to step up.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but I said, so we want to celebrate the women. And I'm honored. I'm not boasting. I'm honored that we got the Developer of the Year award for the state of Utah. And a week later, I got a much better award, which was I got the Utah Champion for Women award, which was way better.
Nice.
than Developer of the Year.
Wow.
Nice.
But really, the goal here is that nobody's talking about this a year from now, because other tournaments do the same things and roll out the red carpet,
Mhm.
and just really trying to elevate, like you see in basketball and other sports, and just yeah. I hate the concept of empowering women, because in my opinion, women are powerful.
Mhm.
Mine is more like celebrating.
I like that.
I do too, and I agree with you completely. And the difference in experience, I want to go back to that. It has been a long time coming, but oftentimes, Patrick, it just takes somebody willing to A, see the issue, and B, take action on it, and you're that guy. And then your whole team with you. I so admire that. It's been, that disparity has been there for a long time, and I really love hearing what you're saying, is that you hope everybody else steps up to where you're no longer unique.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I think you're setting that bar to a different level. You're setting a bar that hasn't been set yet.
Totally true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's talk about the course a little bit. This great Tom Weiskopf design. We've seen the PGA Tour players on it, and we were talking during the break. Yeah, they have the ability to pick parts of the course apart. However, the course really kicks back. It exacted a PGA Tour record 200 penalty shots from the field that week, which it just makes me laugh every time I say it. But
You know full well that's not going to happen with the women.
and that's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah, that's not going to happen
That's
with the
kind of
women.
where I'm going. It is. I just can't wait, Patrick, to see the way they take their games to this golf course, how they approach number 16, how they approach number 5. I want to see how this happens. What, and you and John Coolbaugh, the tournament director, how are you guys approaching setting up the course and being ready for these women taking their games to it?
Well, to be honest, Paul, I've been focused completely on the golfer experience
Okay.
outside the ropes,
Okay.
and John's been focusing on the experience inside the ropes. So other than knowing that the yardage is somewhere around 6,650 for the women,
Okay.
Versus I think it was 7,300 for the men, roughly. Other than that, I am like so dialed in on. I mean, another partnership, Minky Couture.
Yeah.
When the women get on these jets, they're going to have personalized Black Desert Minky blankets, and I mean, those are the
Yeah.
types of things I'm working on. 'Cause
That's
John
amazing.
Coolbaugh, he has it dialed inside the ropes.
Fun stuff. We talked to John a couple weeks ago, and there's just so many pieces, so many moving parts to all this. I saw something the other day that about the volunteers. It takes a lot of people on the volunteer team to make it work. How's that going? What do you need there?
It's going really well. We have, I mean, the one thing about Southern Utah is, wow, the volunteers show up for Ironman, for PGA Tour, for, now the LPGA Tour.
Yeah.
I think we need about 700 volunteers for the ladies tournament, and we have about 150 slots left. And
Okay.
One thing I can say about volunteer is that is an experience that is so much different than the, like, just being I love being a fan, but volunteers, that's the only way you get kind of inside the ropes and kind of an all access around the tournament that you don't get just by buying a ticket. And but on the ticket side, blackdesertevents.com, you can register to volunteer. You can buy general admission tickets. You can buy elevated VIP hospitality tickets. And if there's one thing that I really want to have come out of this tournament, it's that 226 countries and an estimated 300 million people see that Utah shows up for the women.
Yeah, that is a good point.
It's a statement.
I love that, and we do know, we have experience from the PGA tournament you put on last fall, that this will get a lot of buzz on TV. People will watch it. We all know the incredible visuals. I mean, it's like this spot in the world was made for TV, right? With and you put a golf course on it, and it's got those layers of color going green, white, black, red, and then up into the sky where there's blue and white again. It is so striking. And then the golf course, this great Tom Weiskopf design, and let's just pause for a minute. Oh my gosh, we missed Mr. Weiskopf, and what a great golf course for his final design to be there at Black Desert.
Well,
I just
and
everything
the,
about
and
it
the
I
tour
love.
not having been here for over 60 years,
60
this
years.
could be, who knows how long it will be. Hopefully it will just be, a short period of time, but we need to get our young girls out here to see these women play.
Oh, that's one thing.
This is
Yeah.
an opportunity that that doesn't come around very often, and with all of the growth with girls golf in our state, this is such an opportunity for our girls to see.
It absolutely
women.
is. And Patrick, I'm sure you're aware, I'm already deep in discussions with John Coolbaugh about getting our first tee kids out there to see these great players. And we're just so eager to see all this. I think it's going to have such an impact, Patrick, on the growth of the women's game and girls who will now they can look up and they can see the possibilities for them with the greatest players in the world coming to Black Desert. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, and this is something that it was kind of lost on me until recently. I didn't really even think about it until literally just a few months ago. But people said it was impossible for us to get an LPGA tour. This is a testament to what you were saying, Paul, about the beautiful backdrop of this course. But people said it was impossible to get an LPGA tour back to Utah, and then they said it was laughable impossible to get a PGA tour back to Utah. But now we're the only ones that we're the only course in the world that has both annually. And this is the part that I didn't realize until recently. We got both of those under contract before the first round of golf was played.
Yeah.
The grass wasn't grown all the way in, and I think that's a testimony to how beautiful our area is, and obviously the platform of Black Desert Resort and what it provides for the players and the fans outside the ropes.
That is so cool, and I do want to kind of camp on that point for a minute. The only facility, the only location, both PGA Tour and LPGA Tour on the schedule. You've got yourself on this little 6-month cycle there. Look, most tournaments are on a 12-month cycle, right? You guys are on a 6-month cycle. You do it, and then you re-tee and do it again. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, Patrick, we are proud of you, proud of Black Desert, grateful to you, grateful to Black Desert, and your team. Holy cow. Colby Cowan, Ryan Karchner. These are great Utah names that we know. John Coolbaugh, you bring him in from one of the greatest tournaments on the schedule. He comes in with Farmers and Torrey Pines on his resume. Knows what the devil he's doing, and he's he's one of the guys who's really carrying a burden of this 6-month cycle because. It's a team, but John definitely, I would say, as much as I have enjoyment in all of this because I'm focusing outside the ropes, I don't know that he enjoys it as much. he's carrying a lot more stress. So I appreciate John and all the work he does to pull this tournament off. And as you saw, Paul, that inaugural PGA Tour was run pretty dang smoothly for first year. Absolutely, it was incredible, and
the customer experience.
Oh yeah,
they loved it. They absolutely couldn't stop talking about how beautiful it was and what an incredible course it was, and the walk was beautiful. And I mean,
and actually, Jan makes a really good point there, Patrick. When I was there at the Black Desert Championship last fall with the PGA Tour, it was very interesting. Of course, my eyes are focused on the players, really watching that. But you hear all these comments among the people in the gallery making all the points Jan just was making. There was a lot of buzz going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Again, back to the views for just a second. There were 241 million clicks on Reels only posted by the PGA on their own socials. But reading through the comments, it was like they were hilarious. It was, how in the world are they doing a tournament on Mars?
It does have that Mars appearance.
And then I think my favorite one was the PGA told me that they got like 100 emails of people complaining that they had put on an AI tournament.
Oh, really?
Because there's nowhere in the United States
That it looks like that for real.
Okay,
Oh
folks.
my gosh, that's a great one
Come to Utah.
for your AI golf experience.
Well, Patrick, you brought back the PGA Tour for the first time in more than 60 years. You're bringing back the LPGA Tour again for the first time in more than 60 years. What a difference your entire team is making. We are just so grateful for what you're doing. And like I said, I cannot wait to see these women play golf on this golf course in person. Oh, this is going to be
So
fun.
exciting.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Call me later and let me tell you about something we need to do on April 1st. And it's not an April Fool's joke.
Oh, we're in.
Actually, can you tell us now? We got a minute.
There's going to be a presser.
Okay.
Okay, so we know there's a presser on the 1st of April.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to invite you to be part of the media that's on that.
Thank you.
Love
I'll
that.
put it on my calendar. Absolutely, I'll be there. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate you, man.
Paul, Jam, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that is Patrick Manning, the managing partner, Black Desert. This guy, David, you know a thing or two about putting on big events like we've talked about. This guy is in your league. He puts on big things and makes them happen.
Well, I would say maybe a step or two higher level.
He's making a difference, that's for sure.
He's talking about 700 volunteers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
And
so-
the fact that he's going to get them like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
we
makes
had
a good point on the volunteer experience. So, I mean, if you have an opportunity to volunteer for a tournament, even a UGA tournament or whatever, tournament in golf that you can volunteer for, it gives you an entirely different
experience.
perspective of the players, of the game, of the course.
Yeah, you're so right. Dave, you were saying.
Well, I was just going to say that we had a brief association and partnership with Black Desert a couple years ago when Soldier Hollow hosted the Epson Tour.
Exactly.
And I can't tell you the buzz that still abounds in Heber Valley amongst my staff who were able to volunteer for that event. It was a great event. It was super well run, and those things remain with people in their memories for a long time. So, and to your point, Jan, if anybody has the slightest interest in getting involved with the administration and the operations of tournaments, it only makes you love the game that much
Even more.
and it makes you want to play and get better. And so that's
Well,
really
I
cool thing.
volunteered for the Epson Tour up at Soldier, and it was my very first time, and I'll never forget it. It was just an incredible experience. The golfers are so kind, and so and it just everybody involved. The sign holder, I mean, everybody works together to make this tournament go off seamlessly.
Yeah, so true. If you're interested in volunteering, blackdesertevents.com. Getting tickets, blackdesertevents.com.
Get tickets. Oh, my goodness.
You got to be there.
Please,
and
please
take your kids. Take your kids. Let your kids see these great players. The great Bruce Summerhays talks about this a lot. Make sure your kids see great players. They will imprint the swing in their heads. Take your kids to see this event, blackdesertevents.com. All right. Jan.
You managed the clock again.
Well, sort of. We got to talk about somebody who needs some relief.
I'm just trying to do my best. I need some relief.
Sponsors by Duro Health. Check them out at durohealth.com. Help you swing faster, hit farther, play better, feel better. durohealth.com, a really fantastic experience. And I'll tell you who needs some relief, getting some relief. I'm fascinated by this story, David. Victor Hovland, one of the great players in the world, right? And he has talked very openly about losing his swing, going down rabbit holes, going coach to coach, swing thought to swing thought, trying to find his swing again. Who among us has not been there?
I know. We've watched him.
That's
Yeah, we've all been
I
there.
think it's something we can all identify with. And you mentioned Victor Hovland. There's another young player that came out to the professional level at the same time, Matthew Wolf,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
who has similarly, immediate splash
Mhm.
at the highest
Mhm.
level of
Yeah,
the
he
game.
won
and,
as a rookie.
and then similarly, it went away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to blame the technique and the mechanics of the golf swing, but I think it's probably, and it'd be interesting to get someone like Victor Hovland's perspective, but I think it's probably deeper than that, probably more of a mental confidence, belief system
Yeah.
kind of thing. And the other guy that came out at that same time, Colin Morikawa, immediately made a huge splash, and,
Uh-huh.
and he seems to be doing just fine.
Doing
And,
just fine, thank you. Yep.
So, who knows what that magic ingredient is?
It is really interesting, but Hovland seems to be coming back, so getting himself
Yeah,
some
he's just
relief.
way too talented.
Yeah, exactly. And
And Matthew Wolf as well. Just
we'll see him
incredible.
again. We'll see him again. Let's talk about somebody on a Sizz. On a Sizz, brought to us by Next Level Golf. Check them out at nextlevelgolf.com. In really terrific indoor facility in Cottonwood Heights. And I want to go back to the women's game for On a Sizz. We've got Angela Stanford, and there's a really great
this is so
Utah
cool.
connection here.
Yes.
Angela Stanford won the LPGA Legends event at Copper Rock last year. She is coming back, already committed to play in it and defend her title when the event goes back to Copper Rock again this spring, which is very odd to go to this event, to go to the same place 2 years in a row. Angela Stanford announced this week as the
Solheim Cup captain.
Solheim Cup captain, Angela
How cool
Stanford.
is that?
Angela,
well deserved.
yes,
What a
absolutely.
great lady, great career she's had.
And we always give pros who come to Utah and win, we give them honorary UPOT status. Utah players on tour, of course.
Like I said,
and
we
so,
just now got ourselves a new U-Pot.
so we
Way to go,
well,
Angela.
she was a UPOT when she won
When
here
she won
last
it,
year.
yes, but
But
now
now
it's-
we have a UPOT who joins Mike Weir
Mhm.
as captain,
Captain.
of one of these international team events.
That's
so cool.
Where is
Angela
Where is
Stanford.
it this year?
They're in Europe, and oh shoot.
Gotcha.
Yeah, got me.
Darn it,
Okay.
we'll
Anyway,
remember.
I do
Okay.
know that it's a
That's
visit.
a rare gotcha.
Yeah. Well,
it is.
all right. We got to take a break. We told you earlier we're going to hear from Coach Garrett Clegg
Mm-hmm.
and Brandon Robinson, one of his players up at the Robinson, one of the players up at the University of Utah. They are doing incredible stuff. We've got them when we come back on the other side. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah. Utah Golf Radio coming back at you from the mothership, getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah, in partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section, PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. This second hour of the show is presented by Mountain Land Supply, Mountain Land Power Equipment. Check them out at mountainlandpowerequipment.com. It is big machine season. You got work to do. Mountain Land Power Equipment has the stuff you need. Check them out. They've got stores up and down the Wasatch Front and mountainlandpowerequipment.com. We are powered by T-Box, of course, where the whole golfer experience is waiting for you there. Get your swing ready, get your body ready. Have a great time. Nutrition, the whole 9 yards. T-Box at tbx.golf. Jan, David, the University of Utah Utes are having themselves a year. Currently ranked number 12 in the country. They've been as high as number 10 a couple of times. And it's the first time Utes have ever been in the top 10 in the national rankings. And it is no accident. This team is winning as a team and winning individually. And it is a remarkable accomplishment what they did here in the last week. Down at the ASU, or pardon me, at the, I'm blanking on the name of the Arizona Thunderbird Classic. Okay, University of Arizona's event down in Tucson just last week. And Brandon Robinson was the individual champion on a tough course with tough conditions. There was a little breeze blowing, and he gets the individual win. And with that individual win, became the 5th University of Utah player this calendar year to win an individual title. Not this academic season, but this calendar year. All 5 of the Utes starting 5 have won individual titles. Remarkable.
That is incredible. I don't know who else could ever say that.
You know,
I don't know if that's ever happened before.
You know, you can think of some of these great teams that the NCAA has produced, and you mentioned one of them. The Oklahoma State team would be 5 to 7 years ago now, that had Matthew Wolf, Victor Hovland, had Chris Ventura, who won the Korn Ferry event here in Utah. It was a great team. I don't think they did that. There's been other really great college teams over the years. There's been a Wake Forest team that had Curtis Strange, Jay Haas. They're great teams. You see these teams from time to time, but all five of your starters winning individual events. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, they just came off the John Burns too recently.
Yeah, and at the John Burns in Hawaii, where they won at a team event. And so they've got that win at the John Burns. They won at the Tyndale up in Washington. They won at the Palouse Collegiate, the U of W event. No, pardon me, the Washington State event. So the team is winning, and each of the top 5, Sergio Jimenez, Gabriel Palacio, Braxton Watts. Why am I blanking?
I don't know.
Anyway, and now Brandon Robinson wins individually in the same calendar year.
How are they only ranked number 12?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
So that is a very good question. And before we go talk with Coach and with Coach Garrett Clegg and Brandon about this, just real quick, there is a fairly complicated point system with strength of field factors, multipliers built into the point system to achieve these rankings. And the reason for that is fairly obvious. You've got tournaments going on around the country. Most of the fields are regional in order to keep travel down. And so you don't get the top teams going against each other all at the same place at the same time until you get to the regionals and to the finals at the end of the year. And so there are other teams that are playing in deeper tournaments with deeper fields. And that's really what it comes down to, Dave, is the multipliers in the formula. Anyway, The Utes are currently at the Schenkel Invitational in Georgia, and so they went straight from Tucson. They flew straight from Tucson into Atlanta. Didn't even come home in between these two, and so they're actually out on the course as we speak. So I was able to get on the phone yesterday with Coach Garrett Clegg and with Brandon Robison because Utes are busy this morning. They go into this morning's round at fourth place out of 13. Actually, it's out of 14 teams in this field, and so they're right in the mix again. But we had a chance to talk with Brandon Robison and Garrett Clegg yesterday about this. It's a very interesting conversation. Olivia, please run the tape. Brandon, Coach, you guys, together with your teammates, are pulling off just one incredible thing after another. Brandon, let's start with you. Congratulations on your win this last week, man.
Thank you, Paul.
That was really well played in what looked like tough conditions. Very few players under par, and yours was a solid win with a reasonably high score. What was going on?
Thanks. Yeah, well, it's a really nice course. We're playing Tucson Country Club. They recently redid some of the course, some of the greens. So the greens are fairly small. It's a pretty long course. I think it was playing like 7,500, 7,600 around that. And then the wind was blowing quite a bit to the
Okay.
to the rounds, and so it made a pretty tough course.
It is no surprise to see you winning a college tournament. We've known for a long time that you have the game. But it took a minute for you to get there. What does it mean to you to pull that off?
Yeah, it means a lot. I think it's very validating of a lot of work. Like you said, it's taken a little bit longer than maybe I would have expected or I would have wanted, but I've needed to do a lot of growing. I've needed to improve physically in a lot of aspects of the game, but more than anything, I needed to mature in some course management and in some of the mental sides of the game to get it done. And so it's very validating to put in a lot of work and then to see it come to fruition in getting that first win.
That's really interesting. And look, we all need to grow up in different ways, so not a problem. But you mentioned need to grow up in terms of course management. What in particular did you need to do, and what have you changed to manage your game better?
Yeah, I would say in the past, and I still struggle with it at times, but I'm ready to go for any pin. I'm ready to hit any. I believe I can pull it off, and sometimes I do. But they're in college golf. The way courses are set up, it's really tough. Sometimes if you miss in a place, the best you can do is bogey. And so it's taken me a little while to buy into the fact that some pins you can go right at, you can be aggressive, and some you need to hit 30, 40, 50 feet away from the pin, and that's the best shot you can do. And I think another one is with putting. Every 20 footer I look at, every 30 footer I look at, I feel like I can make. I feel like I'm going to make. And so sometimes in the past that's turned into me rolling a putt 5-6 feet by because I was trying to make it, and so bringing some unnecessary 3 putts in. And so just been trying to play smarter and play smarter over the 54-hole tournament to try and gain strokes that way.
Well, I think that's incredibly mature and really well said. Coach, what's going through your mind when you hear this really good young man, really terrific player talk like this about his growth in the game on your watch, under your tutelage?
Paul, we've had a lot of conversations about course management with Brandon, and we are not at our destination at this point.
Okay.
We are still just kind of working through our journey when it comes to that aspect of his game. But he's doing a great job. It's not a Brandon Robison thing. It's a youthful exuberance of just understanding how golf's really supposed to be played. And once you understand how to play the game, what ends up happening is it becomes much easier to be consistent, and
Yeah.
it's hard, becomes harder and harder to shoot over par. And so there, we got a lot of players that are very, very skilled, and they're just young, and you just learn lessons as you go in golf. So
Yeah.
some are taught by coach, some are taught by the course.
Taught by the course. Who I might steal that from you, Coach. That's pretty good. But this is not the first time you've had this issue with players of this level of skill, like you say, but young. It's a part of the coaching in college, is it not?
Yes, it's not even an issue. It's just, it is what it is, right?
Okay.
It's part of the growth in the game. There's a reason why you reach your kind of golf maturity, or kind of your golfing prime, when you're about 30 years old, they say. That's because of the maturity that comes from experience, and you really can't replace experience. But if you can fast forward it a little bit, if you can help them understand things, if you can help work through some of these areas in the game of golf, just managing their golf ball, it really, it can manifest itself in lower scores quicker.
Yeah. And the reality is, you are sitting across from the most recent winner in a major NCAA tournament. And with this win, Brandon completes a remarkable accomplishment for the Utes, for your program, for this team. Now, each of your 5 starters has won individually in the past calendar year. Holy cow. What does that mean to you, Coach?
It means they're great players. They win. I don't hit a single one of their shots. I don't hit a single one of their putts. They earn it. They win, and it is awesome to celebrate that with them. And it is really cool that each one has had that opportunity to lift the trophy. We've lifted some team ones together, and for them, they've now all lifted their own individual trophy, and that's awesome. I'm so proud of them and happy for them.
You've had no rest. You didn't even come home after Tucson. You're already on to the next tournament. What does how does it fit? How does it affect the team walking into the tournament, knowing everybody 1 through 5, regardless of where they are on the list that week, everybody can win?
I think that's a great knowledge. I think they believed that for a little bit still. But, if you get too caught up in golf, if you get too caught up on what you did yesterday, you're going to have a tough time today. So it's great. It's awesome. It's a confidence building a piece of information for all of us. But the worst thing, or the toughest thing about our sport, is every day is different. Every day is new. Every day has different wind, different course, different temperatures. So it's our guys have a very strong belief in each other and in this team, and they should, but every day you have to earn it. So it'd be nice to be able to sit back and be like, hey, we did this, guys. Awesome. Relax. But that's for later on, I guess.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, and you're already into. You've got 1 round under your belt in this week's tournament, and already among the leaders on the leaderboard. So the beat does go on, and this is a really, really good team, and I'm just so excited and proud of both you guys and all your teammates. It's remarkable what you're doing, and congratulations on it. We can't wait to see what comes next.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you.
That is Coach Garrett Clegg of the University of Utah Utes golf team. I'm watching.
You're watching basketball. I know you are.
We've got ESPN rolling here in the studio, of course, and it's all about the tournament. Anyway, Coach Garrett Clegg and Brandon Robinson coming off Brandon's win in Tucson. There was a lot going on in that conversation, David. What jumped down at you?
You're absolutely right. There was a whole lot of interesting
Yeah.
discussion there and some interesting talking points. I'll just focus on a couple. First of all, living and working in Tucson for 35 years, I've had ample opportunity to play Tucson Country Club.
Uh-huh.
And it's one of those golf courses when you first set foot on it, it looks easier than it plays. It's very flat.
An old school parkland course.
Old school parkland course,
Mhm.
which in Arizona means there's more than one tree.
Yeah.
And
True.
and what makes Tucson Country Club is that it's every fairway is lined with abundant mesquite trees. It was built out of a mesquite bog right on the Rito River.
Okay.
So that means that being able to shape a ball off the tee, and it does play long. So you're hitting driver on most of the longer holes. Being able to shape a ball left to right, right to left is more crucial at a golf course like that than some of the desert courses that they might play. So a great skill for a young player to have is being able to hit those tee shots. But what really makes Tucson Country Club is that even though the golf course itself is very flat, the greens are all raised.
Okay.
So that means you don't get away with skanky iron shots. You have to hit really solid iron shots. The greens are very small, and they fall off on the edges, just like old school.
Yeah,
golf
yeah.
course.
Donald Ross inspired
Very
greens.
much so.
Yes.
The bunkers are deep. So to Brandon's point of I had to, you have to pick the holes that you want to fire at pins
Right.
and make good decisions there. What he didn't mention is that the greens are so tiny that even if you're playing to the fat of the green, you don't have a huge target there either. So short game becomes really, really important. It's a really good test for players. So I thought that was interesting that the golf course itself played as difficult as it did. The other thing that I wanted to mention in listening to Brandon talk is, you listen to some young people talk, and there's this maturity level that just comes out in the way they speak.
Uh-huh.
And that really came through with him, I thought. He speaks as if he's done it for a long, long time. And I think that's one of the things that sets the excellent players apart, is that I think they have a maturity about them and an experience about them that they learn really quickly and
Yeah.
they figure it out. So that's I thought that came across in that discussion.
Very good points. And listening to you say that, I think a lot of that lies at the doorstep of Garrett Clegg. He is such a good coach, so good at, first of all, recruiting well and picking the right kind of person to come.
Obviously a recruiter.
Obviously recruited well, right? He's got these 5 players. And he made that point right away. Well, what that tells me, Paul, is that I've got a lot of horses. Yeah, okay, yeah, you do, Garrett. But he nurtures them well. He helps them grow up really well. Jan, what got your attention?
Well, like David said, there's a maturity to him, but there's also that level of I can do anything, and his having to come to terms with course management because he thinks I can hit that, I can get there, and having to realize, okay, you can't get there, or you can, but if you miss, it's going to cost you, and so laying up and having that and him recognizing that he has to play the course and not I can do that, but at the same time he has to have that in order to get better and to do well. You do have to go for it.
It's funny. You do. It obviously that part of the conversation jumped down at me too. I do need to send some props to Brooke, to my wife. She texted me saying, "Oh, come on, go for it, Roy."
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah.
a
But
great tin cup
you can
reference
hear
there.
that in his voice, that excitement, that youth, that.
Yeah, and that exuberance. And
Yeah.
look, and we all know that this is. I love the way Garrett was talking about this. That this is it is a journey, and it's something that is common. And he said it's not an issue. It's just what we're dealing with. And remember when Kyler Dunkel led the nation in birdies made and was not an All-American. Do the math on that. What that means is, you're over here laughing. You know what that means, David.
A lot of bogeys.
It means he's giving them back. That's exactly what it means. And why do you give them back? Because you're hitting, you're going at the pin you shouldn't be going at.
Right.
And hard lesson for Kyler Duncan to learn.
Well, control. There's
yeah.
a level of internal control
Yeah.
that says stop.
You know, and it makes me wonder, because the next level after this, the Corn Ferry Tour, really rewards birdies.
It
and
does.
Making
It
billions
does.
of birdies.
Yeah.
So I can see why players at the college level are trying to get into that mindset where I have to go for everything. If I'm making pars, I'm losing ground. And but then they get from the Corn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour, and
Which
they,
rewards an arc of 72 holes much better.
Right.
Much better. Yeah. We got to take a break. I want to make one final point here before we head on out, and that is I want to go back to what Coach said about having the horses.
Yes.
Spot on, 100% correct. Folks, pay attention to this University of Utah team when we get later in the spring into conference, regionals, nationals. This is a top 10 team in the country. They have 5 players who have proven they can win. This team is going to make a run. We're going to bring it to you on Utah Golf Radio. Pay attention to these Utes. They are good. All right, we got to take a break. Jan, what's next?
You know what's next, Paul.
It is the What's Next segment brought to us by the Utah Golf Association. Stick around on the other side. We're going to tell you what's coming up next in the Utah game. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network.
What's next? What's next? And I'm saying, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And I'm saying, what's next? Sir, when I ask what's next, it means I'm ready to move on to other things. So, what's next?
Yeah. Utah Golf Radio putting a wrap on a good show. Thank you for being with us today. Tell you some things coming up next in Utah Golf. The Red Hills Am will be March 21st. think I've got the wrong date. Might be going on this weekend.
That would be the 21st.
That would be.
22nd.
That would be. Yeah.
That would be today.
Okay, I think I wrote that down wrong. Score posting has been activated on the UGA apps. You can start posting your scores in Northern Utah as of this week. It's already happened.
Yes.
Just to remind
I'm so
everybody,
excited.
score posting has happened. David, what's coming up at Soldier Hollow?
So it looks like we're going to get the golf course open next weekend,
Okay.
Saturday the 5th.
Do you normally open the silver before the gold because the gold is higher?
Absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
So and the gold closes earlier.
Yeah,
as
it makes
well.
sense,
But
sure.
yeah, so we'll open probably for a couple weeks on the silver course. They're already out there yesterday, dragging it, waking that grass up, and
All right.
and getting it going. And then last year we opened on April 13. We had 45 players on that Saturday, and then it snowed the next 3 days. And so
You are in Heber.
the cost of doing business in the
Mhm.
mountains, and
Right.
so. But we're looking at Saturday the 5th. So please
Saturday
come
the
see us.
5th. Love Soldier Hollow. So good. Saturday the 5th. Soldier will open. Jan, the girls are going to Page.
We are. We're just a few weeks. We've got 2 spots available. If you are interested in coming to the Page season kickoff for golf, we go to Page every year, and we go on April 10th through the 13th. You go to Girls Go Golfing on Facebook and go to the events page.
Everybody make sure you go to uga.org if you want to play in the championships. You heard earlier in the show, most of the qualifiers are full, but there's still a few spots available.
Green
But
Springs, yeah.
you're going to have to finish out. You're going to have to get on these. They're going to fill up. All these UGA championships.
Oh, they'll be
fill
filled up by Monday.
UGA.org. All right. Thank you so much for being with us today. We got to roll on out of here. This is Paul Pugmire saying, don't jab it like Jan.
Jan Brownstein reminding you to chug it, don't pug it.
That is good advice. Please replace your divots and repair your ball marks. Thank you for listening today. This is Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network.